Yeah, my name's Jason Drew. I'm an environmental capitalist. I invest in businesses that are busy repairing our future. I think some of the biggest challenges for business in particular is understanding that the industrial revolution is over and that the sustainability revolution has now firmly started. And how we make that transition from the industrial revolution to the sustainability revolution will define the 21st century for mankind and business. Attitudes, we need to get back closer to nature. Sustainable development is really a thing of the past. Sustainable development cannot happen. We can't have 9 billion people living like the rest of us have. So what we need to do is get busy doing things very differently. And sustainable retreat is what I think is much more appropriate for the conditions we face at the moment. Not really, because I'm very busy doing it. We're reinventing businesses. We've come up with some dramatic models that are going to rip apart old world order businesses and change the future. So some of those, from recycling abattoir waste, or waste nutrients as we call it, is just recycling of different form. We take it for granted that we should recycle our paper and our plastics and our glass. Within 10 years we'll consider it normal to recycle our waste nutrients. So what we do at the simplest level is have immense cages of flies. We extract the eggs from those flies and we feed those flies on the blood and guts, the stuff we throw away out of our slaughterhouses. And we grow huge quantities of larvae, which are the natural food for fish and chickens in the seas. If you think about it, any fisherman will tell you there are only two ways to catch a fish: a fly on the end of a line or a maggot on the end of a hook. And that's what we do. We're just recreating nature at a very, very large scale indeed. I think it's understanding these new emerging industries, from nutrient recycling on the one hand to our other business that is the world's largest, in fact, only breeder of mosquitoes. We're reinventing the use of pesticides through genetically sterile insect programs. So what we do at its simplest form is we release large amounts of sterile males that are identifiable through a genetic, particular gene that colours them red or blue or whatever colour you want under ultraviolet light. So instead of infecting our environments with huge amounts of pesticides, we use the natural motivation of sex and for reproduction and sterility, which is engineered to reduce populations of of individual pests. We started with the mosquito that carries dengue fever, and we've just finished the genome of the cotton bollworm that affects our cotton fields. So instead of having inert cotton fields where pesticides have wiped out the entire ecosystem, you simply take out the one pest that causes the problem, in this case the cotton bollworm or the dengue fever carrying mosquito. We'd like to blow apart the business of making pesticides, and in the same way with our nutrient recycling business, we'd like to get rid of fish meal fishing, because a third of all the fish we take out of our seas is ground up and used in fish meal in industrial agriculture. We need to get away from destruction and use creativeness, get back closer to nature to start reinventing a better future for all of us. Letting go is always one of the hardest things to do, but any great leader that we've had and seen in the last 50 or 100 years knows that letting go is the most important thing. We have to let go of some of the old precepts that have brought us almost to our knees. Look at the front pages of the newspapers today about the climate change accelerating, about the increasing destruction of our rainforests. We spent the last 200 years during the Industrial Revolution raping our planet, stealing from nature's balance sheet. And we have to get back into balance with nature. Because if we pick a fight with nature, mankind will lose. We have to get back to being childish. I mean, the problem with our education system today is that when we're young, we can have imaginary friends, fight battles with plastic soldiers, and the creativity is drummed out of us by our educational system. So we need to get back to being creative in order to solve some of the very material problems that we face. So it's getting back to creativity and getting back to nature. And at a conference like this, where there's a huge meeting of minds from people with different views on the world, it's a chance to rethink and reframe, which is what we all need to do, our thinking for the 21st century.